Welcome to UI5con.
So, good morning, everyone, also from our side. So this year we have also a nice animation, not so cool like the initial one, but as you can see, we also aligned with our skeleton theme now. And the slides are in that, in that shape. We have quite a packed agenda for today. So first of all, I think, Stefan, you want to say a little bit about a few of the success stories.
Exactly.
Right?
So let's directly start with a success story. And basically, the critical observers in the audience might say that the colleagues on stage might be somewhat biased. But luckily, the survey was not done by us. Another organization did a survey within the SAP community with 1,000 statistically representative developers, community members in 56 countries. And what they basically said is amazing. 71% of them have used SAP UI5 in the past 12 months for business-related projects. 59 for our elements, 20% open UI5, and very important, 70% were satisfied or very satisfied with our offering. And so, wait. And before Peter comes, there's one thing that I also have to mention, because also tomorrow is the ABAP and basically it is an audience, 1,000 people, and ABAP still defines the benchmark. 85% said they have used the ABAP language, but we are coming very close to that, and we will get them.
Yeah, and finally, I want to say thank you to all of you, because at the end, you are all speakers for us. You are driving the topics to the outside, and thanks to all of you, it's spreading that far, and we get that feedback. And please come and join me for a round of applause for all of you. But we have not much time, so we need to go on. Hurry up.
So, as I said, the success story has to continue, and therefore we also, what's that? Wrong direction. We have to pick some highlights of our achievements in the last 12 months. And let's start with the UI5 tooling, and more precisely with the UI5 tooling version 4. We basically started UI5 tooling with having the support of SAP UI5 version 2.x in mind. However, when we start, it directly makes sense to also update all the third-party dependencies to have the best possible and most secure environment for you. That's basically what we also did. And then the colleagues used the opportunity to also add some cool features to improve the application performance. Peter will share some details on this. And also, as we talk about your satisfaction, it's also very important that we come with the latest language support. So also ES 2023 is available in the tooling, and you will get more details.
Just to share a little bit of details behind all that points. So with the tooling 4.0, we also introduce a new spec version. And the reason for that is because we need to introduce a new concept of asynchronous require. This is necessary for the new bootstrap in UI5 2.0, which will be completely asynchronous. Another thing which is important is that we, as Stefan said, bring also features to improve the performance of your applications. Yeah, there is something like the autofill now of the supported locales in the manifest, which ensures that the application at runtime doesn't load any or try to load any message bundle and then fails. The other thing is also here that we update the OSS on a regular basis. We have to do that, and with that we also get the support for the ES 2023 that comes with the upgrade of the parser and a minifier, which is used behind the scenes. And it also now requires that with the tooling 4.0, that's also one of the reasons why it's a major version, that we have the Node.js 20 support as a minimum. And the release for you, this will come end of June. More information will also be shared then. Let's go ahead.
Thanks, Peter. Let's move on. The next topic is that we want to present you is the UI5 linter. I think from the naming, most of you might guess what it does. It is about static code analysis for SAP UI5. We have, when starting the linter, yes, we have also here SAP UI5 2.x in mind, that we enable you to get the code base ready. However, it can really do much more. Even in your version 1 application, it helps you to leverage your code on to the next level to really be best practice compliance. And Peter will also show it so that you can really also convince yourself it is as easy as ESLint, and please use it everywhere, even without having basically UI5 toolings directly in mind. With that, Peter.
Yeah, also just here again to share some details. What we do with the UI5 linter. We check JavaScript, we check XML, we check JSON, and also we work on the TypeScript support here. At the end, what we do with the UI5 linter is that we want to find all the usages of deprecated code, give you hints, and help you to sanitize that. We also want to find out the globals. You remember, this is also one of the essential things to clean up, to get rid of the problem, to not find the dependencies which are necessary. And this is also one of the assets of the linter. Also, synchronous module loading, things you should not use anymore, which is discouraged, you should get rid of. And as we said, or as Stefan said, it's as easy as lint. It's complementary to the ESLint. The reason for that is that in ESLint we only have, let's say, a limited information about the project, only on the file level and not on the project level, which is needed obviously for us for our linter. And therefore we decided to put it aside unless ESLint also brings that feature into. And finally, it can be integrated in automation pipelines so that you can also run this on a regular nightly basis when you build your project. And a pre-release is available on NPM, and to show that to you, we have a guest here. It's Matthias Oswald. He is from the UI5 tooling team, and he is the PO there, and he shows the linter to you.
So let's see what the UI5 linter, I already installed it here, gives me. And I will also enable the details option, so I get more details on how I can solve those findings. So it gives me two findings here, one in the controller. And it says that of the button class, the tab property, which is an event, has been deprecated and replaced by the press event. So here I would just use the press event. Of course, looking into the API details makes sense if things change, but here I already know about it, and it's just replaced as it is. And similar for the finding here in the XML, the avatar control in SAPF is deprecated. But if I remove that namespace and use the SAPM namespace that I use here by default, I'm using the control from SAPM as it's suggested down here. And now running the tool again should give me no problems and all findings solved. Yeah, and if you want to find out about more capabilities of the tool, there's later today a talk at 3:30 here in the Audimax, where you can learn more about the tool and also about new APIs in the core that are replacing older, now deprecated APIs.
Thank you, Matthias.
Thanks.
Peter, can you switch back? Good, let's move on to the next topic. It's about UI5 Web Components. And also here more specifically the UI5 Web Components version 2.0. So basically what is important for a technology, it is important that it is easy to consume, that it's delightful, that you can directly use it. And here I'm happy to announce that the colleagues now have embedded an interactive playground into our documentation, as you can see it on the right side, that you can directly use and play around with our web components. Also here with the version 1, we started to receive feedback that our API consistency is fading away. So we directly have taken the opportunity to make it an alignment and also incompatible changes, therefore version 2, to have again aligned framework and component APIs. And also maybe to be a bit nasty, I have to say we avoid the same mistake than for SAP UI5 to be somehow compliant over 10 years and to pile up all this legacy. So still, it's not mean from us. I think there's a really cool advantage here. We can now innovate and pick up new things quickly, and we were adopting to new web standards, and Peter will give you some samples where this was really helpful. And also to mention that we added really important and frequently used components like the tokenizer, the form, and the dynamic page. With that, over to you, Peter.
Yeah, so with the UI5 Web Components 2.0, or in general with the recent updates, what we did, we came up with a new landing page. You will see that if you go to SAP GitHub.io/UI5 Web Components, then you will see this compute new landing page experience. And behind that, if you click on the components on the documentation, you will go into our new interactive playground. So we used and reworked the storybook-based stuff then to make it really for you more performant, more interactive, more dynamic, so that you can really play around with these controls also online before testing them locally. I have to mention some breaking changes because it's a 2.0 release, so we will really go a next major level here. And we had to rename, replace, move APIs, and also delete them. Because obviously, with, let's say, as Stefan said, this adopting to web standard required us also to update more or less also our APIs of the components, because what we did as polyfills, for the time being, we had to now switch to native support. Like we have now embedded form support, which comes from the browser. So here, hooray, the browser is really evolving. Web components are there. We're getting also web standards, which help us to really build equivalent controls there. And this is something we incorporate also for the popover, which finally is coming up with a real pop-up handling, also working across the frameworks. And this helps us at the end to make the web components even better for you. And one thing to mention, what's breaking, we removed the belief theme. It's deprecated in SAP UI5. It's now also removed here because we want to follow up on that anymore. And there is 2 new themes still in, which are available for you when you build apps. And finally, also here, at the moment, the release is scheduled for end of June, and there is a session also today after that about the web components, and you can then check out more on that.
Good. Now let's continue and talk about web component integration. Web component integration into SAP UI5. That's basically why we do it. We want to drink our own web components champagne, if you allow me that. And as we are the good guys, we also want that you drink that web component champagne easily in SAP UI5. And therefore, we have to make it as easy as possible. And we now have a native support for UI5 web components available for SAP UI5.
Too much, but we come to that.
Good. And now, basically, there's always also a rivalry between our teams. The web components people run around. Yes, we can do it we can run with any web UI framework in the world. And now the SAP UI5 empire strikes back. I am your father. No, fun. So now they can claim, okay, we also support all kind of web components that are around. And was not built because of the rivalry. Obviously, it was built because web components adhere to a standard. And if you do the integration right, it also works for other web components nearly automatically. And the next thing is also no surprise, as we have a new means to integrate UI5 web components to SAP UI5. We deprecate the old way, and that means the complete web components world can now also benefit from the SAP UI5 framework features. Over to you, Peter.
Yeah, before I now go over that, let me go also to some code, because there is no keynote without coding for me. So I also prepared a small example where I want to show you the native consumption of the web components in the SAP UI5 or Open UI5 framework. As Stefan said, yeah, it would be a waste if we just leave the web components to other frameworks. No, for us, it's also, as I said in the past in other keynotes, we want to make this also our first-class citizens. And then this should be also work natively. So looking into that, what I have here, so this is a normal UI5 web application project, and here in the dependencies, I'm adding my web components as a regular npm dependency. So I installed it here. And now, this is currently in the planning phase, so we are having a backlog on that to incorporate it finally, but for the time being, you can also see how this works or how it will work in the future. And what I want to do is now, instead of in the past, we had these control libraries, I want to now use the web component directly. So for that, let me check the view, the main view. So in the main view, we introduce a new concept for that. It's still maybe a little bit of change on that, but it will be pretty similar to that. So you define, let's say, a local namespace for this web component. It can be anything, so it doesn't need to be something specific. Ideally, it's nested in the namespace of your of your application. And then there is a new syntax. It's called webc import. So it's matching to that namespace. And with that, you define, let's say, the import, the npm package import of that what you want to use. So we use UI5 web components. And with that, I bind this base path now to this webc namespace I have here. And let's first start the application that we also see it in parallel running. Let's put it here on the right and put that to the left. So it's loading. So this is now this application, what we see here, a VBox with a button. And now what I want to do is I want to also add the web components button. So the web components button, we just go also quickly here. That's also a new playground. It is just the UI5 web components button. So we can just also use it here like that. And then let's just grab the same properties because they are pretty the same. After doing that and reloading, I will see two buttons. And takes a bit because the bundling is happening behind the scenes. Or did I crash something? Live demo. Duplicate ID. I should have known that. Normally that's Stefan's issue.
Ah!
But you...
I was about to help you, Peter, just about to
Thank
help
you,
you.
Stefan.
That would be the new thing.
Yeah, but what you see here now is a fully equivalent control integrated into that here. And if you see then now also how this looks like, if you open the support tools on that, then in the control tree, it looks like a regular control. So we have two buttons here inside, the web components button and the normal button. And this is now my seamless anything button, which I defined here, next to the SAPM button. And I can then also, in this case, click on that. Oh, click doesn't work because the click event in the web components is called click. So let's use the click, reload, click is there. And one final thing I want to show, because this is the last thing I add for now, the rest will follow separately. We have also the web components panel, and you can put and nest web components and UI5 controls with that approach into each other. Oh, I just need to do it around the VBox, because otherwise it doesn't look so nice from the orientation. And hooray, here we have the panel around. And now, as a last thing, I do the header text, because every property, every aggregation, anything is available also in UI5 without doing anything, just importing that, and that's it. So, last thing, and then let's switch back because we have not much time to our slides. So, maybe because before we go to the next part, just to add one thing with that, you can now really also fully benefit from SAP UI5 or Open UI5 as a programming model for web components. So this will come, this feature, and this will also manifest once again how important it is to have Open UI5, SAP UI5. This framework comes with so many features: data binding support, connectivity, OData, and all the things. You don't want to reinvent it in React or something else. You can use the framework, you can use web components, and later on I can also show you how you can use other web components also in combination with UI5 as a framework. That's
Good, let's talk about UI5 version 2.x. It was mentioned several times, and I would like to share the status. Where are we? We have now the renovated framework APIs available, basically, and together with the teams at SAP, our inner source teams. Peter made you fun with me. Okay, it was a different animation plan, I have to admit. So together with basically the Fiori Elements team and also the Fiori Launchpad team, enabled Fiori Elements V4 apps that they are working now in the V4 in the FLP sandbox application. However, this is now a big milestone for us. However, I have to also admit that this endeavor is, I would say, even more complex than anticipated. Therefore, we have decided to put an additional step before the release, and we decided to go for a customer engagement initiatives together with you, basically, and have a selected number of customers, and we support them directly with the migration of V1 apps to V2 apps and learn out of that before we then release and we'll take the next decisions. You can apply for the CEI project starting on Monday, and it will basically take roughly, it will happen in September timeframes. And we cannot basically overall not repeat often enough that best practice apps keep running, and we have given you a lot of tools at hand now to bring your application onto this level. Over to you.
Yeah, just to mention again, UI5 2x means best practice apps keeps running. So the linter you have seen plus this will also ensure that you get updated. You can also be sure that this will then also continue later on with the UI5 2.x. And for that, I really invite you to learn about the new core APIs and the config APIs. You can also see that in the UI5 linter session, what has been deprecated today and what is available for new. And you should do so because this will be the future. We also removed deprecated APIs with that. Yeah, we just removed the deprecated APIs. It's good to get rid of old code, and please help us to clean up your applications. Get rid of deprecated stuff. And also of the legacy APIs, synchronous loading and things like that. Fiori Elements also went already that direction and helped us to remove these legacy APIs, to get rid of the deprecated APIs, and we also have now a new FLP sandbox which supports the asynchronous loading in that way together with the FE apps, and we can also test it. OpenUI5 2x is available already. So it's on CDN, SDK openui5.org/nightly/2. You can access the version 2 already there. And for Stefan said, for the CEA, we have already something coming up.
Good. Now, next topic, generative AI. If you remember last year's UI5con, it was most likely the only keynote that was without any Gen AI demo, and we promised you to fix that, and basically we did that. And before we come to that, I would like to share the current status. So what are we about to do? So currently our teams develop specific components that allow to bring Gen AI capabilities into the applications so that all end users can benefit from this capability. And you can see in a draft sketch how this will look like. Then already in Q1, we have had an investment that's basically addressing you. As part of the SAP build code, we added UI5 code and application generation capabilities. And this is, as said, was released in Q1 as part of SAP build code. And you can see our environment here. However, the journey continues. And especially if your Elements colleagues are now working on generic features that connect Fiori Element applications to the tool, that's the SAP Gen AI or the AI assistant in general. And without you to have adding a lot of code, they make use of all the metadata and annotations and give the Gen AI better hints and therefore better results for the interaction with your applications. Also very important and unique in the offering of SAP UI5 Fiori Elements. And now, again, coming back to you and the promised demo, we want to bring the best practices of UI5 at your fingertips. And this time I'm not handing over to Peter, but I ask Stanislava on stage. Welcome, Stanislava. And she will basically present how we bring Gen AI into our demo kit. Handing over to you, Stanislava.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Great to meet all of you. And now let's see what are we up to when it comes to leveraging AI capabilities for UI5 topics. What we will see today is a couple of videos of our work in progress of what we call UI5 Companion. I'm lucky that I didn't mistake with UI5 Inspector that you know very well. So UI5 Companion is an AI-based solution that will be found in demo kit. We integrate it within demo kit. And when okay, just a full screen, thanks, Peter. Okay. When I click the top right button over there, it will be launched and it will ask me how can I help you. Today I decided to greet all of you with nicely illustrated cards. This is why I will give it instructions to create a card for me with illustration. I already chose illustration from the illustration set. This is why I'm entering the illustration name here, and I give a bit more instructions with respect to what the title should be, what the subtitle and description should be, and I will add in addition one button. What the UI5 companion does is, as I said, it's an OpenAI model that we enhanced a bit to understand our documentation, API reference, and samples from the demo kit. So as soon as I give it the instructions and hit the button, it starts thinking, and in a while, it will generate the answer. Let's see what's answers now. First of all, it chose the sub-F card for my prompt. Then it has this nice code snippet that I can integrate in my view. I can easily put in my view. And on top of that, it gives some additional description and a small hint that in order this code to work, I need to register the Tinty illustration set in my component.js, because the illustration I put over there, it's part of this illustration set. What will happen now is I will copy the code snippets and I will go to DemoKit live code editor and we'll paste it, simply paste it in the view and run the code. So, hello UI5con, let's get started. Now, what it does in addition, what else it can do, is the next thing that I want to show you, and this time we picked a generic GitHub issue. I need to run the video from the very beginning. Apparently, the select all button is not showing in the grid list after setting the multi-select mode to select all. Okay, it's an issue. Maybe someone recognized if you reported that, but it's an issue that someone can stumble upon, and it requires a bit of digging in the API reference. But now, what we can do is we will ask the UI5 companion how we tackle that. We ask why, and we simply paste the issue in there. Let's see how it will answer. Now, with a bit of waiting. Yeah, it takes a while until GenAI does its job, but let's see how it answers. So we get the answer. This functionality is not available for grid list. You can find it in tables, in trees, but it goes one step further and it enables you to do it manually by yourself and achieve it. And of course, it hints a bit in the last sentence, it hints a bit that you can, raise a requirement to our product team and, yeah, makes us implement it. So, isn't it nice? No API reference digging, no documentation digging, no stack, and no asking the UI5 gurus. So, there is a bit more time for Peter to talk about other topics, maybe.
Maybe I can use that part from the VS Code the next time for the duplicate ID issue.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sunny. Looks promising. And you see, we are also doing our homework with GenAI, and more to come.
Yeah, and you can see it here, the slide is quite full, so we are coming close to the end. There would be much more to tell. We have 1,200 completed backlog items in the past 12 months to have an impression. There are many features that are relevant for all your end users, basically like cell selection in all tables or copy and paste. We have improved the type ahead capabilities. We have done a lot of things, and for the developers, as said, again, TypeScript parts improved, and many smaller improvements that are really important for the ones who need it. Therefore, really the ask, please study our what's new, listen to our publications, and also very important, please continue to attend our conferences. And with that, back to Peter.
Yeah, not much to add here. So, if you want to have more, do we want to have more? There is plenty of things here in the UI5con, a lot of sessions today. And I really invite you, as Frederick also said in the beginning, connect with each other, learn from the others. They have so many cool ideas. There will be plenty of sessions with nice things I saw already. I want to also try to get in, or at least listen to the recordings later on. And please connect with each other, because if there are nice ideas, it's always, and that's also my history, where I had a lot of great things in discussions with you guys in the evening events or somewhere else, then new stuff comes up. And I wish you also a lot of fun today at UI5con. And then, yeah, there you get a lot of more things.
Thanks and have fun.